Hi, welcome back to the Jac and Glen channel. I'm Jackie.
And I'm her husband, Glenn.
He's my husband, Glenn, over there.
Over there. Hey, before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews. Today we are reviewing Ready to Love, the season finale of Ready to Love. What episode? We had it was a decent episode, man. Not much filler. It really kind of got to the point. Tommy meets with the young ladies and tell them, and the men, he met with everybody, they had their last little brunch. And he told everybody that the men will be introducing the women to their families. And I'm sitting there trying to figure out, okay, which one of these women gonna be left out? Is it gonna be Sydney, or is it gonna be Moomin? That was my whole thought throughout the show.
I didn't think anybody was gonna get left out.
You didn't? I did. I thought. Well, anyway, let's.
You mean with meeting a family?
Yeah.
No, I didn't think anybody was gonna get left out because we know Frank is torn.
Frank was torn. Frank was definitely torn by between Sydney and Moomin. He didn't know which way he wanted to go. Didn't know he wanted to go to Moomin. Didn't know he wanted to go to Sydney. But nonetheless, but let's start here because we didn't really do a review last week, but wanted to touch on this. Sydney meets with Phil.
Yes.
Sydney meets with Phil, and Sydney brings up the incident between Phil and Shiloh. Phil was a little bit worried about the situation. He didn't know how Sydney was going to handle it, but I think she handled it very well. And I liked in the previous episode how she asked Shiloh for permission to go, speak to Phil.
Right.
And Shiloh gave her permission to speak with Phil, so it's not like she was going behind her back. So she asked Phil basically what happened. And this is why I don't like what Ready to Love did. I don't think they showed his full answer of the whole story. They clipped it off. I know everybody has their opinions on the Shiloh and Phil situation. Maybe we'll do a review on that a little bit later. But Phil tells he tells Sydney what actually happened.
Right.
That he wasn't trying to harm her. He wasn't trying to hurt her. He was picking her up. And yeah, he could have made better judgment, but at that time, he was looking out for her best interest.
Right. Right. And the thing I wanted to say was, Shiloh, when she talked about it, she made it like, well, I didn't think he was going to hurt me. But it obviously gave everybody else the impression that he was, to the point where Sydney had to ask about it. And she said that was her thing. She wanted to know from him and understand that it wasn't about trying to harm her. And he said, no, it wasn't about that. It was the fact that I was trying to keep her safe. And I knew she wanted to be left alone, but not alone to the point where she's going down this dark alley. So they got a really good understanding. He appreciated the fact that she understood where he was coming from. And that she took the time to talk to him. And pretty much Sydney has said, anyway, that's not the Phil I know. And then also, with the whole situation, you have to take into account alcohol was involved, feelings were involved, so all of that plays a part in the way people act out.
It definitely does. So they have a nice little, a little conversation there. And now they get to meet the parents.
Mm-hmm.
Family and friends. Family and friends. So we get where Sydney gets to meet Phil's friends and family, right?
Yes.
And so, they asked her some good questions.
Phil's aunt.
Uh-huh.
And then his cousin.
Who's
never been to D.C.
Who's never been to D.C. But they asked her good questions, though. Mm-hmm. Sydney was open and honest, and they asked her the question that there's another man. Why do you feel, or who do you feel is best for you? Mm-hmm. And her answer was that when I'm around Phil, I feel nice and calm. Mm-hmm. And, me and Frank we know each other. We run in the same circles, but we feel around Phil, I am calm and collected.
Yeah, and basically what she said was that, me and Frank, we run in the same circles. Like, we're very much alike. And they actually talk about that later, too, when she meets with Frank's family. Mm-hmm. That it's like, we're very, very much alike. So, like, I know what he's thinking. I know his facial expressions mean. So, for her, Phil is different. He's more complimentary. You know what I mean? Kind of like, I don't want to say opposites attract kind of thing, but it's almost like she doesn't with him, it's obviously not somebody that's like her. You know, they're not.
Yeah, he's showing more interest in her in essence, and always complimenting her, giving her the compliments that she needs. So,
I don't know about that. It's just that it's something different. It's not what she's used to. Meaning, like looking in the mirror, she feel like she's looking in a mirror dealing with Frank. They had the same friend circles, you know. They have the same friend circles and places that they operate and everything. And Phil is not in that arena at all.
Yes, I thought the meetup was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that meetup was pretty.
And they liked her.
Yeah, they liked her. They liked her. Let's get to my boy Frank, because I want to go there because Frank brings his cousin Tony, and I believe that was his niece Desiree.
No, that was his cousin too.
His cousin there,
Both his cousins.
Both his cousins, Tony and Desiree.
Because he doesn't have any siblings.
That's
He's
right.
the only child.
Only child, doesn't have any siblings, so he brings them, and they both get to meet with Moomin and Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and what was funny, after they all met, and they met with Moomin and met with Sydney, they was torn. They was torn just like Frank was torn, because they were like, well, Sydney has these type of qualities, you know, and Moomin has what was the word that you?
They said what Sydney brought is like
home values.
No, that's Moomin.
Yeah,
Moomin had like the home values. Like she brings like the I'm ready to be a not that Sydney didn't bring I'm ready to be a wife, but she had the whole like family vibe. Mm-hmm. And they said it too, like Sydney is like, you know, personable, you know, more kind of like excitement type of thing. Again, more like Frank. And Moomin is like the opposite. Calming, laid back. Not that Sydney's rambunctious, but they were like, we like both, you know, we could see both of them. So you got a choice to make, bruh.
Yeah, like, dog, you got to figure out which way you want to go and how you want to deal with it and where you're going to make this, what's going to work for you. Mm-hmm. So what's going to work? So
and both of his cousins said that he is ready to love, ready to be married. You know, they don't have any doubt about that. Sydney asked, what do you think, you know, might be his flaw or weakness or whatever. And Desiree was like, I think my cousin's perfect. I don't see nothing he has to change. And Tony was like, I mean, me too. It's nothing that, and I mean, I guess I kind of got that from him. He was like, it's nothing that is a red flag that would jump out. I have to be like, look now, but when he get mad, it's blah, blah, or when he's sad, la, da, da. They didn't say any of that.
No, they didn't say any of that, and they just basically let it ride. That this is Frank is what you see is what you get, mm-hmm. and that he's not going to change up on anything else, and what you see is what you get there. And so he has a tough decision to make. He had to figure out what decision to make. Then we go, you know, I want to go to this one. Walter brings Sabrina to meet his aunt and his mother. No, his aunt and
it was his sister.
His sister, yeah, aunt and sister. Now this is where Walter messed up. Walter, and which leads to Sabrina's whole thing later. We'll get to. Walter comes and tells his aunt and his sister that the girl is from Virginia.
Where's she from? You know, how long you been dating her? He was like, I've been dating her, you know, for a couple of months, and yeah, where's she from? She's from Virginia, and you know, I want you to really talk to her, whatever. They're like, okay.
Not at all. Not at all. Look, she like, oh, you from Virginia? She like, no, I'm not.
No, they asked her, where are you from?
Yeah.
And she was like, I was born in Seoul, Korea. And they were like, well, he told us something different. He's like, oh man, yeah, that's right.
Look, which leads to the fact,
I told them you were from Virginia.
Which leads to the point that Walter doesn't pay attention. He doesn't listen to her as much, which added to the fact that she was still shaky about if she wants to be with Walter or not. Because he wasn't communicating with her the way that she needed to be communicated with. And she even said in her little vignette, Walter is not talking to me like that. And so, if you're down to the nitty-gritty, you know you don't want Moomin, and Sabrina's the only one that you have left, I don't understand why Brad wasn't really he put all his chips in. Maybe he thought he was communicating enough, but she didn't think so. Which leads to, let's go to the end. Sabrina and Walter.
Hold on, because before we get there though, but both of them, you know, sitting there with his family were like, you know, we clicked instantly. You know, there was an attraction instantly. You know, how they were, you know, they could share with each other and they were vulnerable. And like Sabrina was like, he's just got this aura and I can, you know, feel it and see it when I first saw him. And, you know, just basically what they end up, you know, they were talking about how, you know, we're good friends, you know, and Walter was like, you know, that's the foundation, you know, when to start. I think we can build upon that, you know, and
but they're on a friend level. I mean, if you go back to the very first, I think.
Oh, she said he hasn't been affectionate.
He hasn't been affectionate.
That's the thing, right?
And you go back to the very first episode, right? Where they cried together. She cried. They were both crying. Or she was crying when they was having a conversation about a pool. And then they just connected there.
That's a song.
What's the song?
Last night, me and my woman, we cried together.
You know what? I'm not messing with you. I did not know that song.
You don't know that song?
No, I do not know that song.
Oh my
You need
gosh,
to play it
you have
later.
to enlighten
If
me.
any of y'all know that song, just put the name of it in the comment section.
No. I think it's the OJs. I think it's the OJs, but
Well, okay, go ahead. We need to put you on Shazam or something like that. But anyway, they, you know, so they had emotion. They cried together. They, you know, so they had that connection that was there. But again, she has always been put in. One thing we learned about Sabrina from this show, she's open and honest. Even when they wanted to eliminate her, she was like, you know, you haven't been calling me, you haven't been talking to me. You guys say this, you guys say that, and so she was gonna let Walter know, like, this is not the way I'm feeling right now. I do like you. I do have feelings for you. We are very good friends. You are a great guy. But I still don't feel that. And he shows it with his body language. Because if a guy's attracted to you, he's going to show some type of affection. She's not an ugly woman. Her body's okay. You know what I'm saying? She told you she used to be a stripper. She said she works out. She's a fashion model. She has a lot of things going for her. And he still doesn't show any affection. You guys were in a resort with each other. Y'all, there's a level of being respectful. And then there's a level of just having some type of affection, whether it's a hug or whether it's a kiss, whether it's a hold hand. And he didn't show any of that. That lets you know that he's really not into you. To me.
I mean,
to me.
Yeah. He
guy,
should be showing something. I mean, he could move very slow.
Ain't that slow in the world?
Well, I mean, let's keep in mind, it's really not but this whole thing is really not that long.
But it's weeks. It's weeks. And those weeks, you should have some type of affection. We said this when we talk about Married at First Sight, that over this 8-week period or whatever, 8-week period of Married at First Sight, you should have some type of affection. Here on Ready to Love, you guys are going on multiple dates. You're spending time on the phone. You're going to restaurants with each other. You're going on resorts with each other. This young lady should have some type of affection from you.
So question, okay, so let's think back. How much affection did he show Moomin?
He showed Moomin some affection. And when it was in the garden holding hands and doing all...
Okay, holding hands, but was they kissing up on each other?
Not that we saw. And so I got to
that's the question.
What did we see?
Right, that's the question. So we need to know, did he show that affection to Moomin and he didn't show it to Sabrina?
Or he didn't show the level of affection that she needed. And
right.
And did she communicate that to him? And what she said was that he didn't show that level of affection. And even when he brought her the roses and get to the end where they make the decision, we got to jump there. She told him, she felt like number 2.
You've always made me feel like number 2.
Always made me feel like number 2. Like she was never number 1.
Basically, like you didn't court me.
Right.
You know, we talked, but it wasn't all that much, not really. You didn't show me any affection. So I can't do it. She's have to be truthful with myself. I have to be honest, and I have to, you know, go with my gut. And, you know, we're great friends or whatever, and you cool peoples, but I don't see a relationship like that there. Even to the point where he was like, you know, she's walking away and she takes her flowers and he was like, I'll call you. I'll talk to you. And she was like, yeah, if I call you, whenever I call you, because you don't call me.
He wasn't putting in the work. And so if you're a guy and you like a lady or you want to be with a woman, you put in the work. He wasn't doing the work.
No.
Just a simple phone. She said it multiple times. Just the phone calls. He wasn't calling her. She said, I would go weeks and not hear from him.
it sucks though, because I could tell when she said no, like his feelings was hurt. He really was. He said it came out of left field to him. Like, he liked her. I think he just, I don't know, maybe he was trying to do it different, you know, because I'm sure he's dealt with some women since his wife passed away, and maybe he's trying to do something different, because he said once, you know, in another episode how, you know, he's a sexual person, and, you know, maybe he's trying to pursue it a different way, and it just didn't work out. But you could tell he liked her.
Right, but she mentioned that to him several times. It wasn't the first time that she's mentioned that, Walter, I need more affection. Walter, I need you to communicate more. Walter, you hadn't talked to me in weeks. So it's not like it hadn't gotten any better. So why keep yourself in that situation if it hadn't gotten any better? So she decided. So, you know, Walter chose Sabrina. Sabrina didn't choose Walter
at all.
At all.
She walked off. Oh, speaking of which, and when she walked up, anyway, she walked up. Regal had that dress out. That dress was pretty. It was. And he was like, "Oh, look at you walking up, look like a princess." She said, "A queen."
A queen.
I was like, "Uh-oh."
Again,
this not gonna be good.
Hold on. Even in that conversation right there, he put her on second tier. Just the slip, second tier. Queen.
Yeah, everybody knows you don't call no grown woman no princess.
You call her a queen. She's a queen. Again, conversation second tier. Just in his mindset, she was second tier. Not that he was anything wrong with her, but she wasn't his queen. He wanted a princess, and she wanted to be. He wanted her to be a princess. She wanted to be the queen, and it was never going to work out. So, yeah. The other ones were pretty simple. Nothing with families, anything. Oh, take it back. Dante, we got to deal with this family because it was cool. Dante brings Aisha to meet his brother and his friend. Now, people love
I'm pretty sure that was his cousin.
His cousin. People love the brother. Tyrone. The brother Tyrone. My man was chilling with his shirt wide open. And just, yo, Tyrone was smooth, right? And so, and again, Aisha and Dante, I don't care what anybody's family was gonna say. It wasn't gonna deter them. But Aisha held her own because she talked about that she could pay a bill.
Well, no, this is what she said. Basically, she was like, you know, I like Dante. I like the masculinity of him. And basically, she was like, you know, I'm a feminine woman. I'm for homemaking. You know, I'm for cooking a meal. You know, I want him to be the head of the house. You know, take care of the bills. And the brother was like, you ain't gonna help with the bill. She was like, I can help with a bill or two. He was like, that's it. She was like, no. See, what you got to understand is, I was married. I'm divorced. I take care of my children. So I know how to do all that. But I also know how to fall back and let the man take the lead. And I don't have no problem doing that. I'm going to cook it. I'm going to cook the food. I'm going to bring him the plate. But if I got to do electrician stuff, I could do that. Yeah. If I got to fix a car, I could do that too. But I'd rather let him do it.
Again, I think this becomes an issue. Maybe we need to do the whole show on this. Do you have to fall back? Or can you run side by side? And I mean, again, husband takes the lead in certain areas, wife takes the lead in other areas. Because guess what? There may be some areas that the husband may not be a lead in or proficient in. It may, and there may be some areas. So again, it deals with relationships and how you handle your relationship. There's no right or wrong answer in this per se. At this time with them, because they're gonna have to deal with it on their own. She's gonna have to deal with his 3 kids, and I believe she has 3 as well. Oh yeah, they got 6 kids all together, so they're gonna have to work on them if it goes that far. So, I mean, I thought that was interesting, that whole conversation between, because she was like, hey, I can do it. I've done it. I can do carpentry, electrician work, and I can do all that stuff. I have done it, but I'm gonna allow him to do it. And if he doesn't mind doing it, cool. But now you get to the point where sometimes you gotta be willing to know when you need help. Mm-hmm. Know when you need help. So Dante chooses Aisha. She walks up in a beautiful blue gown, dress, stunning. Tats are showing, which I think is pretty cool. Her tats are showing, which I think I like. But again, he chooses.
She got a lot of tattoos.
She has a lot of tattoos. She chooses Dante. Dante chooses her. It's nice. It's beautiful. No issues.
Yeah, it's real teen. It gives me real teenager-ish. And nothing wrong with that. With the two of them, and he basically was like, where did you come from? Like, right. You know, she was a sleeper, like, because he was, you know, looking at Shiloh, and then Sydney, And it's like Aisha just crept in, and he was like, you know, I appreciated giving you that massage. You know, when we were on a retreat, you know, that was a connection. And I forgot the other thing they talked about, but they was just like, they floating on cloud nine. We'll see.
We'll see. And so now we get down.
What holds at the reunion?
Hold at the reunion. We get to my man Frank. Frank makes a decision.
Frank got a choice to make. Oh wait, but we didn't talk about Phil.
Yeah. Let's go to Phil. We'll leave Frank last. Phil makes a decision. Phil comes up to Sydney.
Well, yeah, because Sydney's already there.
She's already there. Phil comes up to Sydney, and he has a gift in his hand.
You about to say a ring.
I know, I'm about to say a ring. He has a gift in his hand.
He did have a gift box.
The people on the boat thought it was a ring because they started clapping and everything like that. Thought he was getting married.
She's like, no, we're not getting married.
He has a gift box for her, and he says that Sydney is the one that he wants to be with. That Sydney's the one that he feels that he likes. They connect, they bond, and she was giddy. She was happy. She was enjoyable. The way they cut it made it seem like...
it did make... Okay, so you see Frank walking up, and you see Phil walking up, and you're like, Sydney sitting there, who's actually walking to her?
Yeah.
And I'm like, we know who it's Phil.
It's Phil.
It's Phil. It's got to be Phil.
So it's Phil. So, you know, she says yes. You know, we can date. They do a little kissy thing.
They're like giddy too.
They get like child, you know, giddy. The boat, like I said, the boat people pull up, think they're getting married, they clapping. He's really feeling Sydney. Sydney really feeling him. And I think this couple, I mean, they might work out. I really think they might work out. We'll see at the reunion, because at the reunion, if you saw the previews, the reunion is supposed to be like fire.
Mm-hmm.
The reunion is supposed to be fire. There's a lot of things transpired, but the reunion is fire. So Phil chose Sydney. Sydney chose Phil, which now you know that Moomin...
No, you don't.
You don't know, but you're assuming.
Because then you see Frank, and he's waiting, and you see Moomin walking in, which I don't really get the flow from her dress to her shoes, but I came to the conclusion her shoes were to match her nails. I don't know. But anyway, so you see Moomin walking in, and Frank is almost kind of talking like, it was a hard choice. I don't know. It's almost they try to give you like
he chose Sydney, but she didn't choose him. I mean, they had them.
Well, no, not even that he chose Sydney and she didn't choose him, but like he has to break to Moomin that I didn't pick you actually.
Right, but because they were standing far apart, you even saw the far separation in the way that the scene was shot.
Yeah.
To give you the illusion that look, they were not. He was gonna say no, so. You know, we worked there. But he says yes. And he tells Moomin, I'm really feeling you. The African connection, he said African connection, but
that's you.
That's me saying the African connection connected together. And guess what? You know, she said, I choose you as well. And then one thing I like what Moomin said was, how about church?
Are you going to go to church with me?
Are you going to go to church with me?
And he was like, I can do that.
I can do that.
Because while I was watching, that's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, so they're going to choose each other, but her thing is church. She said that when she met with his family. Mm-hmm. You know, basically, I'm a church girl. I do the church thing. And so while I'm watching them talk and Frank talk, I was like, but is he gonna do the church thing with her? And so that was the thing she asked, like right after I said it. He was like, I could do that.
And not only the church thing, but it's the church, but it's also the celibacy too. Because remember, she is celibate. She's not having sex anymore until she get married. And so you have Frank, who is a bartender, party life, always around different people.
But he's a sexual person.
A sexual person. Will this work? We saw it didn't work with Jason and Liz.
Well, not in the long term.
Not in the long term. So will this be able to work with Moomin and Frank? Only time will tell. Way they show the reunion, they may not have worked, but we will know next week. Mm-hmm. So the reunion for Ready to Love is going to be fire. Check that out next week. We will definitely hit that up with the reunion. Yeah,
I feel like this episode, it was kind of what you expected. It was what you expected. You know, Frank to be torn, obviously, but I figured he would settle on Moomin.
I did too.
Because Sydney and Phil, like her reaction to Phil was different than Frank.
It was.
So I figured they would go that way. The only thing that probably threw people for a loop, and not so much if you really listen, was Sabrina and Walter.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing through people for the loop with Sabrina and Walter. Not me. I felt that she wasn't gonna choose this dude. She had so many red flags. Not saying that Walter's a bad guy, but every time she did vignettes, every time she talked about him, she always talked about what he was not doing and what he could do better. And I'm like, you know what? She may not be with him because she's not playing games. And what she said was, she want to make sure who she brings around her daughter is somebody that will be there long term.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't want to bring somebody around her daughter and then have to leave. They have to leave, and she has to do it all over again.
Right.
Which is very respectful. Which is very accountable. Which is very a good mother. Okay, she said she had a daughter when she was 37, so she got a right now 9-year-old daughter. So where she wanted to make sure whoever I bring into my life, they will be able to treat me and my daughter just the same. Mm-hmm. And be consistent and not inconsistent.
And I'm gonna throw this in too. And let's not forget, Walter still wants to have kids.
Yes.
And Sabrina's pretty much said, no, I'm done. So that would have come up again later. So.
Yeah, that would have came up a little bit later. Hey, let us know what you think. Leave a comment in the comment section. What did you think about the Ready to Love season finale? Are you gonna watch the reunion? Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell notification, and make sure you hit that like button as well. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks. Bye.